Hello people, I'm Ginny Metheral. I'm a 4th generation witch. Now I have been practicing witchcraft since the year dot. I have done it all my life. I've thought it was normal. I grew up practicing witchcraft. Therefore, when social media and YouTube evolved, I saw a lot of other people who were witches online. And it was very interesting because I only knew what I knew. I didn't know about anybody else. I didn't know that there was different types of witches, for example. I didn't know anything other than that I was a witch. So it's been really interesting to see the misconceptions that people have had about being a witch. And so I am here to set the record straight. So the first thing that I wanted to discuss is whether you need to be Wiccan to be a witch, or whether you need to be a witch to be Wiccan. They don't necessarily follow the same. Wiccan is a pagan religion, and witchcraft is the manipulation of energy without the religion. So I consider myself a traditional witch. I do not follow religions. I don't really work with deities because I find them a bit fickle. Not to say that there aren't such things as deities, but there are issues with working with them. Wicca is a religion that was based on the teachings of Gerald Gardner and traditional folk magic. So it's not really witchcraft, it's something else. So they follow the wheel of the year. They have a certain amount of dogma, less so than most other religions, may I say, and therefore I'm more aligned with it, because I don't really like dogma myself. But it is a religion, and you do it by worshipping deities, whoever those deities might be. There are thousands of them in the Wiccan pantheon. As I said, I don't work with deities because I find them too fickle. They're not trustworthy enough for me. If you look at the Norse god Loki, for example, he is a trickster. So therefore you can work with him and everything's going high and dandy and well, but then he's a trickster, so he might be a bit cross. And if you're not providing the deity with the worship that they need, they'll stop working with you and go and find somebody else. So it is a bit of a tit-for-tat relationship, and I don't feel I need that in my practice. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the Wiccans are a wonderful bunch of people. I tend to think that every person, regardless of their religion, is a wonderful bunch of people. And I try and be respectful of that. But it's not me. I just practice traditional British folk magic, as taught to me by my family. The second misconception that I want to bust is whether I'm going to go to hell. Now, this is a lovely one. I'm always being quoted and bombarded by people telling me that you shall not suffer a witch to live, says the Bible. The Bible says an awful lot of things. It also advises on how to have an abortion. So I'm not necessarily, going to stand by that particular statement in the Bible, especially as I disagree with it. I also disagree with the concept of hell as defined by a God who says you haven't been to church every Sunday, tick, 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 you're going to hell, off you go, I'm punishing you for eternity. I do not believe or want to believe in that. However, if believing in hell keeps you on the straight and narrow, all to the good in my opinion. I personally don't. It is Christian mythology. And so that's why I don't really follow religions. I don't like the dogma and the myth. I don't actually like anyone telling me what to do either. I'm not very good at that. I think if you're going to tell me what to do, it makes me very cross. And I think, no, I won't do that. I can't even read a recipe, because if the recipe tells me what to do, then I think, oh, I can probably do that better. And lo and behold, I generally can't. Misconception number 3 is that I'm permanently dancing around bonfires and stirring cauldrons. And the reality is that I probably haven't stirred a cauldron this year. I have stirred a cauldron in my time. Dancing around bonfires I do quite a lot because I quite enjoy a bonfire, and there's nothing better than having some music and having a bit of a boogie around them, quite frankly. So dancing around the bonfire tends to be with other people. It tends to be because you're winding up the magic and making the circle. However, it could just be pure exhilaration and joy. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I often just dance around bonfires for pure exhilaration and joy. And this is the time of year at the moment for bonfires, so you could expect to find me dancing around a few bonfires. However, In reality, my day-to-day practice is very simple. I do practice every single day. I don't spend my time in a witch's hat and some ceremonial robes. I have been known to put them on because I quite like dressing up. Who doesn't? However, it's not my day-to-day practice. My day-to-day practice involves my wand, which, as you can see, is a piece of wood which came from just up the hill here. It's very special to me, this wand, though. And some old trim that I had when I was decorating some children's something or other many years ago. A pen. Well, it's a very grand pen, this one, isn't it? And, if I can get it out, whoop, my Book of Shadows. This is my current Book of Shadows. I write down, as you can probably see, if I can show you here, I write down literally everything about what I've been doing. I write almost every day in my Book of Shadows because writing itself creates the spell, and I thoroughly recommend it. Every single thing I have written and predicted in this book has come true. But it is fun to get together with other witches and practice that high magic ritual ceremony style. And goodness, I do like it. But in reality, my day-to-day is a book and a wand. It's not very much really, is it? And it doesn't really cost anything either, which is great. I have a huge stack of Book of Shadows because I write so much, and each one of them has something different about it or something that I need to know. I lost my last one. It got stolen by fairies, I think. No one can find it, including my pendulum. Most upsetting. The other misconception is that as a witch, I can create a spell and it will happen like that. Magic doesn't work like that. It takes time, patience, intention, energy. Probably I can work a spell that will come to fruition within about maybe 2 weeks, maybe 10 days. I think money spells are sort of the easiest ones to do for that. You call in the money to you and you'll get it. But large amounts of money, that just takes the time, energy and patience. It's not for somebody who wants instant results. It's not like going to a shop and buying something. You can't just produce it because the world doesn't work that way. We live in a physical world, and this is what I'm working with, physical energy. You've probably heard me say this over and over and over again, but you must do what works for you. People have talents in witchcraft, and it's really interesting to see my online coven come together in the talents that each member exposes. We have the traditional talents, such as healers, mystics and mediums, and then we have the more esoteric talents, such as protectors and leaders. Each coven member brings a different ability. As one of my online coven members, Hello Siren, she's not called Siren for nothing. She's called Siren because she obviously is incredibly good at sex magic. Good for you, Siren, is all I could say. I am too repressed to do sex magic, but she's not. And that fills me with quite a lot of awe, I have to say. I would love to know what your favourite tools are and how you practice, what sort of practice you do. I'm very traditional in my practice. I use a bit of everything. Eclectic, maybe, is what I might call myself, with a bit of hedge witch thrown in. I spend a lot of time talking to spirits. I think traditional British folk magic is what I practice. However, I'd love to know what you consider yourself to be and whether you have any advice for us out there. If you want to learn more, please go to www.ginnymetheral.co.uk and sign up to my channel. There is plenty of content on that website for you to watch. You can join a course, join a coven, or chat with me on a one-to-one basis. Have a look and come and join us. Otherwise, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you in my next video.